Thank you. Okay, so our agenda for today is first I'm going to introduce my friend, honestly, one of the most dynamic, energetic, inspiring, fun,
Jump to the
sassy individuals I've ever met, Wendy Amato. She graduated from our MBA program in 2019 and is here to share her experience. So thank you for being here. We will also talk about prerequisites. I know that's on a lot of people's mind, especially not having an undergrad in business. This might be a concern for you. So I have a quick solution, and I hope that you guys find that comforting in moving forward with the MBA application process. Also, we'll talk about the GMAT, right? Everyone wants to know the GMAT, what's required, what's the score you look for. I've been working for 20 years. Do I have to take a standardized test? We'll talk about that as well. Again, I have some good news for you. And finally, the heartiest part of this information session is going to be on our questions and answer session at the end of the session. I've collated a lot of the questions that you guys have submitted during the registration process, and we are going to get to as many of those as we can. And thank you for sending those in. All right, so let's get started. Meet Wendy.
This is the best session you could possibly attend because Lauren Perpetua and I have a friendship that goes before our participation in the program. We did not overlap in the program, so you get different perspectives, but an enjoyable conversation to explore the questions that you all put out on the table. My name is Wendy. I'm a teacher, and I'm probably as much of a candidate as you would expect if you're thinking about, am I a fit for an MBA? Because a teacher? Sure. And so the answers that I contribute to the questions that you asked really come from having no business background, but wanting something more for myself and thinking about what I could gain by participating in the program. So thanks for having me. In terms of credentials, I am a lifelong learner. I love being in school. I have a PhD, I have a master's in education. I'm AP certified, IB certified. If there's whatever's out there, I just love being in school. And so happy to talk to you about how to manage time as a grown-up taking on something new, to talk through financial implications. All of that I definitely have experience from the MBA program and other parts of my life. Thanks for having me, Lauren.
Thanks, Wendy. It was really an excuse just to see you. Okay, so prerequisites. Let's talk about this right away. For our MBA program, we ask for you to have had taken a course in financial accounting, statistics, and economics. Microeconomics is preferred, but we will accept macroeconomics as well. So if you don't have a business degree, you probably are thinking, I don't have these courses. We have an easy solution for that. It's mbamath.com. I can include this. I plan to email you all an application fee waiver for being here today. So I will include this in this email so you don't have to write that down right now. But what the program is it is a module-based program that you are able to take all of the prerequisite courses. They also offer a refresher in Excel if you should need it. It's $149. You get access to all of those courses. It is certificate-based, and we accept those certificates. If you do happen to have, an econ course from, let's say, 20 years ago, and you want to refresh, this is a great way to do it. Also, another piece of good news is you can apply, be accepted to the program, and then sign up for MBA Math this summer before the fall start and chip away at these courses at your own time. Typically, and you can kind of see that it might be a little small on the screen, but they say that each lesson, each course will take anywhere from, I've heard prospects tell me anywhere from 10 to 15 hours. So it is module based, and so you can chip away on your own time. Which I think is great news because a lot of people before starting the program had to enroll in a community college or, something like that. And we're all professionals and very busy. So trying to fit that extra piece into your life, MBA Math really makes it very easy to do.
I
And
can talk about the easiness of it, Lauren. My acceptance into the program was conditional. I needed to take a finance class, and I took one on Coursera. And so that was nice for me. I was able to do it asynchronously. And, sometimes I'd make a lot of progress all at once, and then life got busy, and then I came back to it. And so that model of applying for the program is actually a recommendation I would make, because you need that motivation to do the course. If you wait and do your prerequisites and then go for the program, you might give yourself permission to procrastinate on those prereqs. So go for it.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's really to protect yourself, so that when you get into that first accounting class, you just have that basic knowledge. And a lot of times people without a business undergrad degree, I think, are surprised. They're like, well, I actually knew this. I just didn't have, the terminology to match it. So next thing, the GMAT. As a teacher, Wendy, I don't know what you feel about standardized tests, but they scare me. and the GMAT is a test that we look for if you have 5 years of relevant work experience. You are eligible for a waiver to skip the GMAT. In order to see if you apply for that, or if we would recommend you for the waiver, all you have to do is send me an email with a current copy of your resume. Don't worry about writing down my email address right now, because like I said, I'm going to email you all after the session, so you'll have that in your inbox. The GMAT, if you don't have 5 years of work experience, again, you can apply, be accepted conditionally on the GMAT. We typically look for a score of 530 and higher. And if you fall into this particular category, email me anyway your resume, because I can set you up with somebody over at GMAC, the company that runs the GMAT, for resources, whether it's study guides, how to navigate. They have virtual testing and in-person testing, and how to navigate that as well. So don't let the GMAT be an obstacle for you. All right. Now we're going to get to the hardy part. So like I mentioned earlier, these questions are from you. I collated and put together as many as I possibly could. We hope to touch on everything, but think of this as your appetizer in the big multi-course MBA program. We can talk to you guys as much as you want. I am a real person. I went through the program. I love to talk to people. So reach out to me if we don't touch on your questions. So the first one, can you discuss the cohort style and class schedules? So Wendy, I'm going to kick the cohort style over to you to kind of touch on.
Oh yeah, I'd love to talk about it. When people talk about a cohort, you get that term, that concept of being together as a group, and it is, you go through the program as a group. Your courses cycle, but you're with the same students most of the time. I found that really reassuring, because we began to learn about one another's strengths and weaknesses. It made it a joy to collaborate in group projects, but there were enough opportunities to select electives, or there were places where another cohort may have access to your courses. And so there were enough fresh faces and enough variety to feel like you weren't stuck, but there was enough consistency to feel like you had a really dependable base. I finished the program about 2 years ago, and this evening I'm having 2 of my classmates come over to sit around the fire pit. And these are people I never would have connected with before. We're not at all in the same stages of life or careers or backgrounds, and but there's a really nice connection that will last forever for us, I know.
That's true. Personally, I have a group me text with my cohort, and I just got a text as we started the session. We're constantly talking to each other. I think that the cohort style takes, a lot of people pursue their MBA for that network, but having a cohort makes you're making friends. It's beyond that network. The network is through them, but you really make good friends with those class members. Class schedules, all 3 of our programs are done in 8-week blocks. Depending on which program you choose, and we'll get to that a little bit later in our Q&A session, you either have 1 class or 2 classes per 8-week blocks. So classes meet virtually or in person if you're in the innovation program from 7 to 9:50. Our information security and executive leadership programs both meet virtually always during the week. So one night a week, you would chip away online at the MBA program. On our website, and again, in that follow-up email, I will include a link to all of the class schedules. So if you're a calendar person, you can see exactly when you would start, when you would take classes, when you would need to be in person versus virtual. Right now, I must say, with COVID-19, all of our classes are virtual. We're hoping by the fall that we can return to some in-person sessions as well. All right, next one. As a mid-career professional who will continue working through the program during the program, how flexible is the timeline for completion? If I haven't taken a math class in 20 years, will that be a problem? I have to tell you, I love this question. It's a great one. I'm going to address the first part here. So all of our programs are designed for working professionals. We've had people have babies while completing their MBA. We've had people get deployed while trying to complete their MBA. And we know that life happens. We are intentionally small so that we can work with our students. We want for you to succeed. We have a 94% completion rate. So you have 6 years from the time you start the program to completion. It won't take you 6 years. It's not designed to take you 6 years, but if you needed to put the brakes on for a minute, if life got in the way, or if you were in our innovation program and needed to take 1 class at a time instead of 2 classes at a time, we will work with you. We want for you to get your MBA. The second part, Wendy, I'm going to kick that one over to you.
I'd love to add that. So if you are still working and planning to still work, you can do it. I had a high stress job, the kind of position where you feel like you don't have any extra time. And I traveled between 80 and 100 nights per year. And so I thought I'm gonna give it a go. I'll get started. And then at some point I may have to press the pause button. And everybody was so flexible. And I mean specific things. The instructors were wonderful and have made themselves available for office hours or consultation. If you miss a synchronous session, you do the readings and then you can connect with them. The teammate support that you have from your group mates, there's a lot of project work and teamwork, and the support that you have from the classmates is incredible. There may be weeks where you send your notes to somebody and then another week where they send you their notes, and you look after one another to keep everybody moving through the program. So if you are thinking about balance and sanity, I would actually suggest to you that the structure of the program reminds you that your priorities are correct. And it's like the analogy of putting the big stones into the jar first instead of getting the jar full by sand and then you can't take care of your priorities. There is something that is a compass that comes as you make your commitment to yourself in this program. So yeah, it's a lot. There's reading, there's homework, there are meetings, but you can do it. And surprisingly, the other things are there for you afterwards. The time goes faster than you think. And I would suggest that, that you give it a try and then pay attention to yourself. No one would want you to get run down or make sacrifices that are harmful, but you would be surprised at how much this really can help you with your priorities.
Love that.
I do have the chat open also in case anybody has other items. I'm watching the chat, not Lauren.
Well, I do see one question in here, and that's kind of, it works well because the difference in the 3 programs. So we have 3 different concentrations, one concentrated in innovation, in executive leadership, and information security. I must say all 3 programs are foundational MBA programs. So you get those core courses in all 3 programs, regardless of what you pick. On your degree, and I get this a lot, it will say Master's in Business Administration. It will not say concentrated in X, Y, or Z. So please be mindful of that. The concentrations are just to take it that next step. Our innovation program meets most frequently. So the cadence of the innovation program is a little bit quicker than the other 2. The innovation program is a 21-month program. And during those 8-week blocks that I discussed earlier in the session, you would take 2 classes, 2 nights per week. On week 1, you would be in person in Harrisonburg. We meet at JMU's campus. JMU recently opened a brand new College of Business called Hartman Hall.
Beautiful.
I love it. And even if you don't do the innovation program, if you decide to go for executive leadership or information security, we will have you at JMU because we want you to see the campus, to see the university that you're a part of, and to be able to really reap the benefits. We have our own MBA suite in Hartman Hall. We plan to have it stocked with lots of good snacks and stuff. So if you are in the innovation program, you can stop by before class, grab a snack, meet your group, that kind of thing. So innovation meets in person on week 1. Week 2 and 3, it is virtual. Week 4, back in person. 5 and 6, virtual. 7, back in person. 8 is virtual. And then you repeat. You do that for 4 different semesters, and you do have the summer off. Our executive leadership program is really geared towards people with more tenure in their career. So we ask for 5+ years of experience for our executive leadership program. You take 1 class per week. And the way that it works is all of your classes during the week are always virtual. You do have meetings on Saturdays, 1 time per month in Tyson's Corner. So in an 8-week course, you would meet in Tyson's Corner, kick off, get to know your cohort, set that foundation for your virtual classes, and then you would have 4 weeks online, meet again, 4 weeks online, meet again. The executive leadership program is 28 months long and does go through the summer, where innovation has a break. Now, information security is very similar to executive leadership in the terms of meeting times. It is our most unique program, I think, in subject matter, because it's a specific person that comes into that program. For that reason, we meet less in person, because geographically, that program tends to attract a lot more people from all along the mid-Atlantic coast. So we meet 1 time every other month on a Saturday in Tyson's Corner. If you need further explanation, or if you're wondering, where will I fit? A lot of times people are pretty certain if they want to go towards the information security track. But sometimes the innovation and the executive leadership program, I have some overlap of people who would really do great in both. So I'd be happy to talk more to you and kind of identify what your goals are and your unique situation, and best advise on which one would be a good fit. Okay. That was a long answer. Next one, what are the expectations of students and the reality of the course load, homework / assignments? Wendy.
When I looked closely at this question, it felt like there could be 2 ways to address that student expectations part. And I don't know who asked the question, but I'm going to explain why I'm answering it sort of in 2 directions. One is, if your expectations are, if the question is about expectations for outcomes, is this degree going to get me a promotion? Is this degree going to open new doors for my professional pathway? That's one way I could see the question. And then the other way about expectations of students is the work both rigorous and reasonable? Am I going to waste my time? Is it busy work, or am I doing things that have substance? Am I going to be the same person when I finish the program and just happen to have a diploma? Or will I be armed with some new ways of thinking? Will I have some understanding that will help me critically analyze business and inform decisions and priorities for my organization? So I think there are 2 considerations for the expectations of students part of the question. If I'm way off base, please somebody send me a chat and say, you totally missed the boat. It's not A or B, it's C. That's the teacher C. But okay, so for A is what's going to happen after the program. You need to think about what your goals are when you come into the program. Some people do seek an MBA because they want to have a different kind of resume or profile to make them attractive for other positions. And those could be promotions in your own organization, or they could be the beginning of a job search elsewhere. And you may find that those thoughts shift and change during the program. But others come into the program thinking about the outcome as, I have a job I enjoy. I'm in an organization that I like and that appreciates me. I want to be a better contributor. And in my case, I wanted to be able to talk about the educational parts of my organization in a way that the numbery people would understand. And so for me, I was seeking vocabulary and terminology. I wanted to be able to talk about project management. I wanted to be able to say that I can determine the key performance indicators of this course, or some things where there needed to be a bridge between education and teaching and business side. So the answer to the question needs to come from you doing some careful thinking as you come into the program. So that as you make choices about projects that you want to take on or group mates with whom you wish to work, that you make those choices based on what you want out of the program. The JMU is not going to promise you a promotion when you finish. But if you know that growth is a goal for you, then you work with people who are able to see things at another perspective in the positions where they are. If you are seeking an industry change, then you work with people who are in another field and begin to learn their priorities and challenges and get yourself the interaction you want. So the program outcomes are as unique as the program participants. On the other side, about course loads and the reality of the work, there are going to be some courses that are looking at content that's already familiar to you, and great. You might have an 8-week sequence that's just a little bit more breathable for you. You may also find that in those courses, you seek ways to take yourself to the next level. And that can mean conversations with the instructors. It may mean you take on a little bit more leadership in some of the group work and projects that you have. It may also mean you think about how the information that's already familiar to you is being presented so that you can be more effective in sharing that kind of information with other people, perhaps in your organization. So there are a lot of approaches, even for a course that's in a zone that's comfortable for you. An example for me, one of the courses was on HR, and I have been involved in hiring and dismissing people and performance improvement plans, things like that. So I had to think about what my goals were professionally in that course on a topic that I felt okay with and understand how to make it valuable for myself. And then if there's a question about work being busy work or rigorous work, the answer is it is real work. So if you were looking for something fluffy, it's real work. But I would remind all of us that work that is challenging and rigorous isn't painful and bad. And so I was grateful for the rigor. It doesn't mean it was impossible or out of reach, but you do learn new things in the program. And I would actually be disappointed if it were any other way. So yes, it's the right amount of rigor. It's the right timelines for things. It's the right size for projects and papers. And also there's a lot of attentiveness from the faculty in case you need some accommodations or adjustments. Ask me questions in the chat if I missed the mark on that one. I think that's an important question because each of us comes from a different circumstance, and we want to know that the fit is going to be there.
I loved it. You answered it for me. So thank you, Wendy.
Well, Lauren, you may need to confess that I think I pretty much bullied you into starting the program.
She did.
No, it's really good.
She is the reason why I decided to pursue my MBA, because honestly, I personally had been out of school for so long and knew I wanted to grow within my organization, but I really needed somebody just to say, you
What's your undergrad degree?
It was in business and communication. So I did have a business background, but
my undergrad is in French and sociology. So if you all are trying to think about whether your undergrad qualifies you, French and sociology, I can't think of anything softer.
This is a specific question, and I like this question a lot about the Information Security MBA program. Is the Information Security MBA meant for the non-cybersecurity undergrads, or even those with this training can already take it? You know, Wendy, you touched on this almost when you talk about the HR course and how you had experience within HR, but you still got stuff from the course. So if, you know, the Information MBA program attracts people with a cyber security background and people without. It's really designed to be 5 miles wide and 1 inch deep, so less technical and more on how you manage a technical team and how you bridge the gap between that technical team and leadership, and how you're able to lead and talk the talk. And really, we get people come in that, work in IT and information security within their organizations. And we have people who come in who do not. It just depends, again, going back to that goal. If you do have a CIS background, I promise you, you will not be bored in these classes. They will challenge you. They will perhaps make you think about things in a different way and push you to listen to others in your cohort. And the cohorts are very diverse. And so you could learn from others, even if the content of the actual class is something that you're quite familiar with. So, all right, let's move on. Cost, in-state versus out-of-state. I can talk to this one. We're very transparent on cost. It's the same for in-state versus out-of-state. All of our costs are listed on our website. Our executive leadership program is $1,000 per credit hour. Our information security program is $900 per credit hour, and our innovation program is $600 per credit hour. So everything is out there. One thing I would really like to say is talk to your employer and really get a gauge. A lot of times employers have educational benefits. Wendy gave me some good advice when I was thinking about earning my MBA, and she said to talk to, at the time, my chief marketing officer, and ask him to pay for it all. And I did not ever think I would have that kind of gumption to do that.
Go home.
So I did. I marched into his office and I said, I'm going to pursue my MBA and I want you to pay for the whole thing. And he said, okay, we can't. This is what our company gives per educational benefit. However, we can work it out in another way. And very quickly after that, I was promoted into a role that I was getting my MBA to get into. It kind of all came at the same time. And oddly enough, the salary increase was very similar to the cost of the MBA program. So don't be afraid to ask. And Wendy, do you have anything to add to that?
I'm happy to talk about the cost of the program, because it actually would remind everybody that it's not a spend, it's an investment. And I know it's all those cliche things, but when you ask for support for the program, if you are asking your employer, you may expect them to agree, but there's a certain service stipulation that comes with it. It's like, sure, but we expect you to still be here 12 months after you get your diploma or something like that, or there may be a reimbursement element. But it's a really nice way to open up a conversation with a supervisor or a finance person or an HR person and say, I love the company. I want to be a better contributor to our program. If you can invest in me, the return on investment is going to come back to us.
Mm-hmm.
I also think part of the discussion, and I'd be happy to pre-talk this with any of you if you want to do a practice, but part of that conversation may be, I know the company's not in a position to give me a really huge raise right now, because a salary increase is something that the company's going to have to carry on its books for the rest of eternity. But you can demonstrate to me as a company, as a boss, as a human resources team, you can demonstrate to me that you're investing in me as an employee with sort of a contained expense. And those actually fall in a different way in the general ledger and in the finances for the company. So it may be easy for somebody to say yes to some tuition support rather than you coming in saying, I'm ready for a raise. And so think about some ways to have that support demonstrated, but you might need to help people articulate the approval that they're giving to you if there's not an existing tuition reimbursement program in your company. And I can help you with that language.
She helps me. And you know what? If you don't ask, you'll never know, right? And
I would also suggest, if you don't have tuition reimbursement or support from the company, think for yourself about what this spend means right now in your career In terms of the long-term or lifetime impact it can have on your overall earnings potential. So you may spend several $1,000s right now, but in the next 10 years or 15 years, you could have that back exponentially. And you may tighten the belt right now, it may be uncomfortable, but it is an investment. And if you think about putting yourself on a different pathway, on a steeper trajectory, you may find that just a little bit of long-term thinking helps you realize the long-term gain outweighs the short-term pinch.
I agree. I miss it. I miss it goes with everything, you know, not only financially, but the long-term, the short-term pinch of getting those classes, doing those classes that just, you know, now that it's over, I miss it a lot. Okay, let's talk about next steps. All three of our programs have very small cohorts intentionally. We limit it to 30 people in each cohort. We are rolling admissions, so as people apply and they meet our credentials, they are accepted. We are about halfway enrolled for fall of 2021. We are currently accepting applications. I would encourage you, if this is something that you really want to pursue, to go ahead and apply. The admin system allows for you to create an account so you can walk away and save it if you need to. You don't have to do it all in one fell swoop, but if you really want to start in the fall, you need to save your spot in that cohort of 30. So I will be giving everybody on the call today an application fee waiver. I hope that helps a little bit. Also, I am available if you have any questions, further questions. Wendy is amazing, and I'm certain that she would probably say the same thing. If you had specific questions for her, I could get those to her, no problem.
Lauren, as you think about next steps, when we were first hearing about the program, representatives from JMU came and had a lunch and learn at our organization. I saw, oh, sandwiches are coming in, and I went to lunch and learn because I wanted a sandwich, and it was great. And when I was sitting in there, I was like, wow, you know, this does address some of the opportunities that I'd like to be better at in the company. And I thought about it while I ate my sandwich, and then in the blink of an eye, JMU was back again with another lunch and learn, and they brought sandwiches. So of course I went. And when they invited one of my colleagues to speak, she said, I was at this lunch and learn last year, and now I'm happy to say I'm halfway through my program. And she talked about some very specific things that I thought, wow. And then I remembered I was sitting next to her in that first lunch and learn. And now a year had gone by, and she was standing in front of all of us talking about the growth, the courses, the knowledge she had gained. She had also had a promotion over that year. And I left that lunch with an extra sandwich, and I went down and I started my application. I didn't finish it that day, but I really heard her, and I heard in my own head, you've got to start to finish. And if there's a next steps lesson that you take away from this conversation, is you've got to start to finish. You are on this call in this conversation with this group of people having this meeting for a reason. So listen to yourself. Whatever it is that brought you right here, that's a reason that you need to get started. And I think I would love to see Lauren get applications and paperwork and questions about GMAT waivers and things like that. I don't know what you're waiting for. And I wish I had started with my friend. I would love to have graduated with her. And instead, I was a full year behind, and it was a year less of having this degree that I'm really proud to celebrate. So if you need a pep talk, call me. Have Lauren get us connected. I really mean it. If you don't hear the sincerity in my voice, and then I will try harder to tell you, you are here for a reason, and don't hold back on yourself. You are worth it. Thanks.
Okay, that I can't even. This is why I love my friend Wendy. She is like this all the time. She is amazing, and she always has snacks in her office. So if you need that, it is lunchtime. So if you need a snack, she's always your person too. Honestly, this program has changed my life. I started with a different organization. I'm now working with JMU, it's funny because you get behind the scenes and you think, I had such a great experience. What am I going to find out? It's the same behind the scenes as it is in front. I mean, the MBA program is really designed for the students. It's really designed for you. So reach out. I will be in touch. I will send out a recording of this session, the application fee waiver, information on the GMAT, and mbamath.com for everybody here. If you have any more specific questions, please reach out. Wendy put her personal email in the chat. Thank you, Wendy. That means a lot. And thank you for being here today. Thank you all for taking 37 minutes out of your busy Friday to hear about our MBA programs. Bye.